Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. It is a fun day as we speak. Um, Markets are moving. Bitcoin is moving. S&P 500 is moving. So we have some market movage, man. So this is good. Um, it's been able to. Hopefully, you guys have been able to capitalize on the movements of the market and kind of see what's going on here. So it is a cool thing. Um, One of the things I do want to bring up here real quick is so I'm looking for pretty much somebody who's funny, entertaining, and who can talk crypto. I'm preferably looking for a male and a female that can banter back and forth with me. So if you guys know of anybody, it is not a paid position as of right now, but no, it's pretty much going to be for everything that we're talking about. So would love to have some of you guys here hanging out. If you like the show and you think that you're funny, we can put it up to the community and see what they think. But I'm looking for some people. So if you guys want to come on the show, please come through. Love to have fun, hang out, be good times. Real quick, in regards to the news, the IRS has gone through and is now um, it's really interesting. They went through and basically are have given us like a cryptocurrency an actual title and a claim to actually be taxed. So that's interesting, right? Death and taxes, two things you guys can guarantee, right? So I'm gonna read this because it's really interesting. I said so, and I'm getting this from Cointelegraph, um, and their section on what do you call it, regulations and stuff. So you can go through them and check them out. But basically, I'm going to read this here quick. Last week, the IRS released a draft bill featuring a well-defined digital asset section that outlines if and how taxpayers will account for the use of cryptocurrency, stablecoins, and non-fungible tokens. Basically, in page 16 of the draft defines digital assets as any digital representation of the value recorded on a cryptography secured distributed ledger or any similar technology. 2021 tax form requires taxpayers to indicate whether they have received, sold, or exchanged in virtual currency within this term changing in the yet to issue 1040 tax form 2022. That is crazy. Like, so I find it very interesting. What's up, Matt? How you doing, brother? I got you
Hey,
here.
buddy.
Hey, how are
Can you
things?
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We hear you very
Oh,
well.
nice.
Very,
Oh,
very
awesome. Yeah, I'm driving right now.
nice. Good times. Good times.
Story of my life, man.
Oh,
The work does not end.
that's good. It's the man on the street, man. You're out there working and then saving your ducats, saving your pesos so you can go and buy some crypto. So, whoop, whoop.
Right?
That's
Yeah,
well
so I can
said.
put more money into marketing for my next pre-sale we're doing here. So got to
Exactly.
make some money
Tell,
to make some money.
tell me a little bit what you're doing for your pre-sale. What's going on with it?
Well, so did you see that we did a subscription pre-sale?
I did not. Real quick, let
Oh,
me jump. Let me actually finish the last little bit here, because I'm talking about
yeah,
the taxation of the news here. So
yeah.
taxpayers are required to answer the digital asset section of their income tax return, whether or not they have engaged in digital asset transaction during the tax year. A number of situations will require American taxpayers to indicate yes to the question on digital asset form 1040 or 1040 SR. This includes receiving as a reward, award, or payment for um, property or services or sold, exchanged, gifts, or disposed of a digital asset in 2022. So also the UK's come out with some really interesting stuff for the financial services too. The market bill has just come up, and they're really pushing for basically a digital asset, a central exchange for what is that? Central digital, or was it central coin? I'm messing it all up. The CBDC, whatever it is, the digital coin there for the central banks. So they're really pushing that through with the new what do you call it? The new guy, the new prime minister. That's really interesting. All right, so that was it. That's real quick. I got a couple more new stuff, but talk to me, dude. So you guys just came up with the new system for your pre-sale?
Well, so we tried a subscription model for Bet Your Beans, and like I swear to God, man, it was just brutal. Like for the amount of money and hype that we had from Travlad and everybody, it's just like the subscription model. I think people are just over it now. And I think our hard cap and soft cap was relatively high. And while we can explain, what we were aiming for and why it was so important to it, I think us not exactly breaking that down on the website probably didn't hurt. But I was surprised, man. Like we had 1,500 good Telegram community members. You know what I mean? Like we never botted it or nothing. And like we launched, and it was just like crickets off the top. And Pink Sale, we were going to be doing our whitelist pre-sale with our NFTs and everything for Bet Your Beans. And Pink Sale was like, look, I would do the subscription model. We'll give you like a ton of support. We like your project. You came out and like docs to us like the second we started talking. So it was like, great, they're going to support us. Let's do the subscription model then. We did all these AMAs, and it was just brutal, bro. It was like crushing, I'll be honest. But a lot of the subscription models tend to fill on the last day, and that's kind of what we expected to happen. And we had a bunch of stuff lined up. You get some big buys coming in from people that and marketing guys, and you'll get that FOMO going, and then it generally just snowballs, right? But like things just didn't work out on the last morning, and we just sat there, and it was like, okay, well, I guess that's that. So, we're turning around and we're like, yeah, how do we fill this? Do we find some private investors to actually pay for the DApp itself? And then we'll do probably a lower hard cap, soft cap. But I found every time there's like a failure. It was like when I did my first couple big AMAs and I spent all this money, and then afterwards, like you're like, oh great, how many thousands of dollars, and what did I get? I got 100 Telegram members, and they're all just trying to show me stuff. I was like, cool. But then from that, then you find other people like, oh, you paid, oh man, like here, come to our lounge, we'll give you a deal, come over here. And you get like to the nice communities like the ones that me and you were both in, right? And then that kind of spread. So even here, like, I spent all this money, we're in a big marketing group afterwards. I'm like, well, guys, that did not work out. There was obviously some communication issues, and I don't know what the hell kind of happened there. And, it wasn't necessarily on my end. But, from that, talking to Shibtoshi, and I'm like, man, like, we're just getting screwed here. And he's like, let me get you into this group over here, talk to these people. So then you meet other people who are like also good people in the space, but they're more whales. And they're asking you the real questions and, trying to figure out how they can make it work. So, every step of the way, like you spend some money, but then it leads you to other better people that will help you save the money till eventually you get to your goal. You know what I mean? So, we don't have a specific date yet for our whitelist pre-sale. We've got a big AMA today in one of these whale groups, and I'm gonna be like, what would you guys throw into? Because one of the things was like, guys, we're failing hard here, like fully doxed. I'm everywhere. Show people my film resume. Like everybody knows that we're real and legit. And they were all just like, it was like 8 comments in a row, and they're like, yeah, it's a subscription model. Like, I want to do it. I won't do it. They're like, I just skip over it. And now that seems to be the general consensus from everybody out there. It's like, yeah, we're skipping subs. We don't like them. So it's crazy how fast the market changes too. You know what I mean? Like no matter how much marketing you put into it, at the end of the day, there's always things you could probably do a little bit better. But I think people are just like, meh, not super exciting anymore. So.
Well, it's more than that. I mean, one of the things you also have to need to consider is we're literally coming into a recession. People want to be able to hold on to their money. One of the things during this time period, and I bring this up, wherever you work, right? One of the things that they always start to see is theft in office supplies, and I'm talking like staplers, pencils, pens. You always see these. It's the small things, right? People start to nickel and dime. They don't fill up their tanks all the way, right? They start to
Yeah.
kill their subscriptions. It's funny. One of the things I used to be in insurance, right? And I have like an insurance agency and to get things up and running. And one thing you always see, man, is during the onset of a recession, either you see people doubling down on insurance or they get rid of their subscription for insurance or life insurance, wherever, right? People start to
Yeah.
scrimp on their car insurance, right? So it's not necessarily you or your, it's actually the mindset that's actually happening in the States as well as the rest of the world. It's an actual mindset. So it's one of those things that is, you just don't, how do you stop a global recession? You don't.
Yeah.
You ride that
Yeah.
thing out. You ride it like a
Return to the
surf.
gold standard.
No, that listen, that's long gone. I mean, you guys are it's like you guys are being dumped by a pretty amazing girl, right? You just got to go and move on with it, right? Because it's just how it rolls. And you got to move. That's just how it is,
It's
dude.
funny. It's funny too, though, man. It's like the confidence. I'm like, there's like a bunch of people in the room waiting for an orgy, and somebody's got to take their clothes off first. And we found that too. We talk to communities and be like, yeah, we're all gonna throw in, like all of us, but we're just waiting for other people to buy first. I'm like, well, if one of you guys like just started buying, and you start creating that buying pressure, you can see that snowball effect. But everybody wants somebody else to do it first. Somebody's got to get their dick out first. You know what I mean? And I just find that such an interesting mentality, especially when it's like there's no risk. Like if the sale doesn't happen, you guys get your refund back. Like it's that hesitation of looking at something and going, yeah, that it is going to be successful. I'll hop in versus, okay, I'm going to help these guys out. If it doesn't work, I get my money back. So it's definitely been an interesting weekend with a lot of frustration. But I'll be honest, when we canceled the pre-sale 5 minutes before it ended, just because you're like, well, whatever, it's better to cancel than to have it say failed. Just like you're just like, okay, I'm not stressed anymore. I'm not going to worry about whether these guys are going to be able to pull this off like they promised and really do all this stuff and push it. You're like, okay. And then it's like, okay, what do we do now? And you just regroup and you look at it. You say, okay, what were the issues? How do we move on? Let's go where they got to do it, how we wanted to do it, and you just push ahead, right? So it's all good at the end of the day, man. I'm just happy for the connections I make and the people we talk to, and you keep moving.
So what's your project?
It's called Bet Your Beans.
Yeah.
What was that?
It's called Bet Your Beans.
Oh.
Basically, it's like Doge bets, but
Whoa.
actually, go ahead. But
whoa.
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
But the thing is this: they are not a betting site. What they are is a contract site where they create a contract between one bettor and another bettor. And what happens is you have the ability. So for example, let's say that me and you disagree about the S&P 500, okay? And we believe that the S&P 500 is going to hit 39. I believe the S&P 500 is going to hit 39.0450 right here. And then we're going to see it turn around, right, and come back down. And you're like, there's no way. It's going to go all the way up to 39.56.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go, all right, cool. Well, let's put a wager on it, right? So we go to Doge Bets. We put $1,000 on this, okay? You put 1,000, I put 1,000. And what Bet Your Beans means is that they create the actual smart contract for the actual bet. And then what happens is, and it's in beans. So you guys also do it in BNB, and then you also do it in Ethereum, correct or no?
So we take payment in BNB and Crow off the top, but we can add other chains easily.
Yeah.
So, hey Pedro, I gotta hop off here. I just pulled up at the job site, but I'll be back in a little bit, hopefully for another 10 or so. I just gotta load these trees on my set.
You're just gonna come and chill and not. You're just gonna come and chill and not talk anything else.
Sorry, bro. I'm like, we're in the middle of a season 1 here on a new show, right, for Disney and Sony, and so I'm like, I can chat when I'm driving, but I can't watch my guys work, and I sit in my truck,
I got you.
But
I'll talk to you soon.
But I'll be back in a bit, bro. Appreciate you.
Most stuff. Many blessings. All All right. So what's up, Rings? How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing good. We just had a shill bomb. That's funny. But he's cool. I like his project. I like what they're doing. I think it's a legit project. I know they're struggling right now to get things up and running.
So pretty much like that. They're in a way like if me and you had a bet,
Yeah.
About something, and we had a mutual friend, we would give the mutual friend the money to hold to make sure that
Yeah.
what neither of us screws each other, and then that's what the smart contract does.
That's
But
exactly.
the smart contract, you know that you're whoever what wins the bet is actually getting the money, and the person you just gave the money to hold it, is it just gonna run off with it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, and they're legit. I mean, they've doxed themselves. They've sat there and they're legit people, right? Like I respect that, right? They're not.
Yeah. But like I know what you're saying, because like even look at Sky Labs chart that they had
Yeah.
like they had like a $2 million marketing budget, and it for the launch, in that they raised a lot, but look at the chart now.
Yeah, it makes me sad about the chart. But I mean,
Yeah.
I did say, I was like, well, we're probably gonna come down here.
Well,
Like,
well, I mean, like it never even went above private sale price.
oh really? I did not.
Yeah. But in all fairness, that's because private sale bought their B&B back when B&B was like $500. So the private sale actually had two options. We took a vote. Private sale was able to choose. Did you want to start at a lower market cap? And pre-sale is pretty much buying the same amount of tokens for at half price, or do you want to start off at a higher market cap, and pre-sale is buying around the same price you did, and we chose the first option, where we pretty much paid double for our tokens to have a smaller market cap, in hopes that it would attract more people.
Well, they're having a little bounce here, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a bad bounce. They went from literally, 0 0, is that three? Yeah, 3 zeros 1 8 to 3 zeros 2 2. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's 400 points there, man. I mean, that's not bad, or at least 300. You know what I'm saying? That's a
Yeah, but
substantial move
that
for
was
them.
from like one buyer. So
Got it.
but that was like the same wallet they did the couple of 20K buys.
Uh-huh.
So it's hard to say if it's somebody that because we do know that the team has a pretty big buyback wallet that they got from
Pre-sale or the launch.
no, they got B&B from snipers. I'll just leave it at that.
I felt bad for it.
Oh,
Oh man.
hold on, I'll be right back.
All righty. All right, guys. Let's go right into some other news here because it's pretty interesting here. So, one of the things I want to bring up here real quick is the actual Ripple case here. Ripple continues to gain points in case against the SEC. Ripple seems to be, and this is the part that's really unique right here. So, Ripple seems to be inching closer to victory in its ongoing battle with the SEC. The company's general counsel, Stuart Alderod, I'm messing it up. Forgive me for that. Alderod confirms on Twitter that the firm finally has set of elusive documents. Has basically the elusive documents that they said that they gave the SEC 18 months ago. And basically, and 6 court and other 6 court orders, they actually responded back and this is what thoroughly noted, they remain confident at the SEC's in in um, insolence. Basically, the request for Ripple's documents, right? And Ripple said, "We sent it to you guys. We've already sent it to you. We've already sent it to you." So this was really, they went through. They actually found that, man, I got this nose hair that is just tickling me. Forgive me, guys. I'm sitting there trying. I don't even. I thought I got it. So it basically, they found the documents. Like, they finally came up with them. They found the documents, and now like Ripple's like, dude, you guys are playing horrible. Like, you guys are literally doing tactics that are just absolutely horrible. He actually writes, or he says, it was well worth the fight to get them. The documents. Speaking of the documents, he says, adding, I've always felt good about our legal argument, and I feel even better now. But I always felt bad about the SEC's tactics, and I feel even worse about them even now. And so it's like this horrible thing. In the same sense, he goes on to more. And there's other stuff in the article that talks about how the SEC and their interaction with ETH, right, and how they're saying certain things regarding ETH. So it's very interesting to see that the SEC is just outright playing dirty, like absolutely, like they're not even trying to hide this stuff anymore. They're just straight being douches. So it's really interesting to see what's actually going on within this whole entire market, as we say. So it's pretty sad, but it's how sometimes this is how politics are played, and it's dirty, and it's and you think that these guys who are the holders of righteousness, or the holders of truth, right, who come after the criminals, and they're fighting the people who are actually trying to uphold and help out the market at large by bringing cash in and creating cash, out of thin air. So it's a, forgive me, man. I had this, I don't know why it's bothering me. Forgive me. But it's a really interesting thing. What are your thoughts on that, Brink? Have you been following the Ripple case?
Somewhat. I do agree that the SEC is definitely corrupt. But from what I've been seeing, it looks like that Ripple went from being in a position of weakness to being in a position of power, and a lot of people I follow keep talking about how the SEC is pretty much destroying their entire argument, but with the stuff that the XRP found in the discovery phase, and they're just slowly dripping all of that information out.
Pretty much,
So,
yeah.
So, do you think that the price points that I'm hearing XRP is going to shoot up to are legit? Because like what I've been hearing is like it as soon as the case it settles and XRP wins, the price is probably going to shoot past $1. And within a couple weeks or months, it'll shoot up to $5.
It very much could. I mean, here's the thing: like, Ripple is one of those ones that has been just suppressed for so long.
Yeah,
And so many people
because like
are waiting.
yeah, because like the whole SEC case is just suppressing their price. Like Coinbase used to have them trading on there, and as soon as the SEC filed their case, Coinbase is like, but we don't want to be in trouble. We're preventing you. We're no longer offering XRP.
Well, I think also part of it is simply you just got to be smart business wise. I mean, the reality is this: is regardless of their whether they're corrupt or not, they're powerful. You know what I'm saying?
Are you talking about the SEC?
Yeah, the SEC. So if there are legal issues, the SEC can still come after if many of the central exchanges. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Eastern Standard Time. Cool. I'm about to sneeze. Forgive me, guys. Forgive me. Woo! I am got some hay fever over here. So the backside is this: is that regardless of their corruptness or not, they still have power. They can come through and and put you down. As a business, they can come after you and hit you with fines and lawyer fees to the point where they can crush a business. Especially, I mean, and to put it, even though they're powerful, but they're not the many of our many of the crypto central exchanges aren't like Bridgewater. Even though they're big in crypto, they're not a juggernaut in compared to traditional finance. You know what I'm saying? Traditional finance deals in trillions of dollars. We're talking the top head guys um, like the SEC gave this seal of approval to the largest bank in America, the BYC, right? Or the NYC, NYB. It was a BNY bank. I forget the acronyms, but it's basically the largest bank in America. And who got the first real bid to be able to offer real exchanges going back and forth, right? Them, right? The SEC, boom. Same idea with Fidelity, right? Fidelity, boom, is also offering this stuff. And also a few other major institutions that offer these brokerages deal with hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars, right? That they actually offer. And so if the SEC really comes down on them, right? Where they have a couple $100 million, I mean, really to throw maybe a couple billion, right? But then they would go bankrupt. You know what I'm saying? Like in comparison to traditional finance, real money, and crypto money, right? We're still fledgling industry. Now in 10 years, 15 years, it's gonna be a different story. A lot. I mean, actually, we'll be the 11th sector on the S&P 500, right? Like it will be that. We'll be those people, right? Where we're dealing in trillions of dollars in relationship to that. So for me, it's just one of those things that I feel it's not, and this is the thing. I don't feel as if it's like, okay, we're down and out or whatever, right? It's just a matter of time. I mean, there's so much money coming into crypto, the backside of it, that once we come out of this bull run or this bear run or whatever we call it, crypto winter, it's going to, it just will change. Things aren't going to be the same, just simply because we'll see a market cap of, probably 20 trillion, 10 to 20 trillion dollars. I wouldn't be shocked if at the peak of the next bull run, we're at, 10 to 20 trillion. So, but it's just a matter of time before we get there, right? It's just interesting to see how the SEC is fighting it, which I just don't understand.
That would be awesome.
Look, man, I mean, if you look at what's actually going on, I mean, real institutional banks are getting involved. Like that doesn't, like, they don't get involved. They didn't get involved in the Beanie Babies. I'll put it like that, right?
And what?
Beanie Babies. It was a fad. It was a fad that happened when I was a kid. These little stuffed dolls.
I know what Beanie Babies are, but what did they do with Beanie Babies?
Nothing. They didn't do anything with it because it was a fad. That's what I'm saying. That's the point of what I'm saying is that Beanie Babies were a fad and that they didn't get involved. And because they didn't get involved means that, and yet you have all these huge institutions that are now starting to offer, cryptocurrency as a asset for their clients to be able to trade and to go back and forth. So it's just really interesting to see how the SEC is wanting to fight that. Or maybe they're purposely trying to fight it to push down the market so that their friends can get in at a low price. I don't know. We'll see. And I don't mind that,
because if you're paying attention, you're able to take advantage of those same debts.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you could also short on the way down.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, hey, it's just how it rolls, right? That's the way the game is played, unfortunately, right? And so, like, people are going to look back right now in these time periods and go, dang it.
You know what would be really cool? If I Trust Capital allowed you to short.
Dude, there's no way, bro. Because that means you'd be shorting the your 401k, right? So that they wouldn't. That's not the mind. That's just the whole entire
Yeah.
point of a retirement plan is that it's a secure plan, right? And if you short something and it goes against you, the thing is I think that would actually be brilliant. I think that would actually be brilliant, but there's no way that they. Well, you could do a reverse ETF, like you have reverse um plays within Bitcoin. You have reverse ETFs on Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? Or you have a 2x or a 3x on Bitcoin as well.
Is that pretty much like something that trends the opposite of what Bitcoin's doing?
Yeah, so I think it's exactly what it is. So Bitcoin's going down, it moves up. If Bitcoin goes up, it goes down. There are extra fees to it because obviously they incur fees by doing the shorts, or if they're playing options, or if they're playing, they're shorting off of the a pair, right? That they have to pair it
Mm-hmm.
off of, right? So it all just depends on what mechanism. But yeah, it's pretty much what it is. So that's really interesting. And I don't know how to shut
Pedro,
this
I'm
off.
gonna send you something. That Bitcoin chart is still somewhat like kind of following that trend still.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't mind checking it out. And I want to point out
But
here real quick.
like it's pumping like right where it was supposed to.
Well, what's interesting, and I want to bring this up as well, and I brought this up earlier. So we've been seeing a correlation between gold and Bitcoin, which has been really interesting. So if you overlay, and I'll overlay it here real quick, compare it to the BTC. Boom. All right, so you can see here primarily that we dropped here, as we see right here. You can see how as we started to rally with BTC, gold started rallying, and then when BTC started to fall, we started seeing a fall in the same sense, right? BTC rallied here.
Real quick. Real quick, I don't really know what I'm looking at. Is that orange chart Bitcoin, and the candle chart it is gold?
Yes, I apologize. Yeah. So you can see the correlation here.
Oh,
at these levels.
wow.
So you can see we've been following this now since early or mid July. But you can see how this is when we really started breaking away from the S&P 500 a little around this area. So it's really interesting to see as we started to fall or move, we're now moving in line with gold.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting aspect. Now, gold made a smaller move up, whereas Bitcoin made a bigger move up in relationship to from a percentage level, right? You can see that, we're up. So these are just really interesting movements as we're watching the markets move. So I don't know, I find it interesting.
If you stretch the chart out, but like zoom out, does it do that at other points too, or is this like the
No.
first time?
No, it's kind of done it sometimes, right? Like, but Bitcoin has been much more exaggerated.
Yeah.
Right, you can see here, like this rally here was from here, right?
But
but you can see,
like it would follow it, but it would just be a lot more explosive, right? Now it's
no.
more tied to like similar.
Yeah, so meaning like you can see here we had a lower high here, but gold did not have a lower high,
Oh,
right? You can see we have a higher high here, and Bitcoin did not have a higher high compared to here. But now at these other levels, when we're looking at this, it's definitely playing pretty strong in relation to it. Except for Bitcoin, this is where Bitcoin is putting now new higher highs here. So it's just it's a really interesting thing that we're seeing. So
yeah, something that somebody I follow, but like he's more about my news and stuff, but he also talks a little bit about like the financial system. And he's been saying that he thinks due to like how bad inflation in the economy has gotten, he thinks that eventually the Federal Reserve and IRS will cease to exist, and while they're slowly dismantling that they're working on making Bitcoin more like gold. So like they're trying to control that to a degree to make it so that gold and Bitcoin are cut close to being pegged to each other.
Wow.
So it's interesting that you point out that through like a technical chart analysis that you're seeing that like since July that the Bitcoin and gold are moving pretty much the same way.
Yeah, definitely. And if now more than, I mean, compared to gold now versus Bitcoin, like we're starting to see, like here's a higher high compared to this high, right? So we're seeing higher highs step in with it, whereas gold not necessarily, right? But here's the thing, the major fluctuations within Bitcoin is not advantageous necessarily for, oh wait, maybe I'm wrong. This was a higher high, forgive me. This is a higher high from here. And I was thinking it was not.
Sorry, Pedro, I can't forgive you for your one mistake.
Oh, I have many mistakes. I definitely. But like, this morning, like I was talking about how we would hit that because we're at a junction point here, right? And so I don't see fire wicks. And then I said we should see some type of sell-off in between here, right? Well, we're not. We're starting to show rallying. Now, when I go to my smaller time frames, right, I don't see a lot of buying wicks coming in. So I don't, I'm still kind of bearish from up in this level, right? Because we're at these higher time frame SMAs. But it doesn't mean that I'm gonna, I shorted Bitcoin a little, right, in the beginning this morning. Boom. But the reality is this: I should have been looking to go long, right? Because the market's moving long. It's going up. I thought we were going to hit these levels and then see a sell-off. I was wrong. And I absolutely admit that. Absolutely admit that, right? I'm definitely not a perfect trader, but my risk, but my win ratio of calling the market is pretty high. So I'll be the first one to say, you want to have a high calling rate of higher than 50%. Now, obviously, mine is much higher than that, but like I was wrong there. I'll be the first one to say I was wrong. Change your bias. If the market's moving up, go up. If the market is going down, short the market or get out of the market. And the other thing I always preach, make sure you put your stops in, right? The only thing you can control about the market is how much money you lose. It's the only thing you can control. You cannot control whether the market goes up or goes down unless you're Goldman Sachs or you're Ray Dalio, BlackRock, right? They're the ones exactly. You don't. We just don't have that power, right? But your job is to follow the market, what it wants to do, and to follow the trend of the day. So that's what you want to do. Well, what was I gonna say? Oh, the other thing I want to bring up real quick is the excuse me. Forgive me. I
better not get COVID now.
I
heard that.
Don't say that word. It's sickness, right?
I heard that now, if you don't have your booster, that it can be sent through the computer.
Let's not the Savasa. Make sure we don't use the word that cannot be said because then they'll take down our videos. So
really?
That's a real thing.
Which word does it begin with, a C or a B?
I would say we're gonna say Savasa. The Savasa.
You'll have to text me.
Yeah. Just say cerveza when referring to certain things
Mm-hmm.
that in regards to coughing and sneezing and stuff like that. So
Okay, got it.
yeah, pardon me. Sorry, I'm not feeling at the most top level for you guys, so forgive me for that, guys. But I do want to start. I wanted to show off, and because I know last week I wasn't here as much, so I want to make sure that I'm here though. So, um, real quick, just so you guys know, as we start to see the market keep continuing up, understand we are starting to put in some seller wicks here, guys. So, and we do have a rate, we do have a slip and slide all the way down to at least that 24 or 20,000 450 area here. So, if you're looking maybe to capture some of this, make sure to trade off of those higher time frame moving averages that we're playing off of. If you don't, though, and you want to continue going long, which I suggest you do, because if the market keeps rallying, we want to play. We are going long because the market is going up. So making sure that whenever you get in at a retracement down in this area, but the market is still moving up. So you want to make sure that you are moving up, okay? Or at least going long with everything. I want to
I'll be right back.
all right. And the reason why I'm saying this morning when I did the morning recap at some of your guys's, I was talking about these levels here and them being most likely a potential to drop. And as you can see, not so much now. We're definitely pushing through these areas here. So I want to make sure that we understand, the market sentiment is up. If the market sentiment is up, we want to play the up position. Okay. I guess it's in a nutshell. So the other thing I want to talk about here real quick is the United Arab of Emirates. Basically, so I'm going to read this here real quick because I talked about how they were setting up the metaverse and they were really pushing strong on their CBDCs. Now I can say that's funny. Um, they're pushing strong on the CBDCs and how they're really pushing that hard. The central bank digital currency. And they had one of the first, what do you call that? The place where you go in and you're able to check in as a country. For whatever reason, I cannot think. Forgive me, guys. For whatever I'm not thinking that's wrong. Forgive me, guys. Basically, long story short, they are going through and they're setting up their central bank digital currencies. They've really been really pushing hard with the whole entire metaverse and setting things up when it comes to connecting with certain with other countries regarding this. Been really pushing central the CBDCs as well, and they no longer have a test net. They've been using a test net right now. They're not in research mode. They are in test net and about to finish. They've been actually playing with so there's the G20. There's like a mandate. One of the mandates is basically the project Enbridge demonstrated faster cost efficiency. So Enbridge or they wanted to basically bring in this like it's a bridge where Swift basically gets thrown out, and you use this bridge where you can actually exchange money through CBDCs from other countries, right? And it's interesting that they actually went through and were able to do it. Now, real quick, we know that roughly about 100 countries representing 95% of the world's GDP are using or looking into CBDCs according to Atlantic Council. Now, one of the things I bring up is their thing that they're really pushing, right? They connected with a few countries to exchange currency from other countries using this test net, right, of sending cash back and forth. They were able to send about $21 million. That's an M, million. But these are the countries that they use, which I find very interesting. And let me make sure I can find this according to, all right, either. There we are. All right, so these are the countries they actually used. So They basically 6-week pilot project was conducted with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, the Bank of Thailand, the Digital Currency Institute of the People's Bank of China, right? Okay, this basically China's like big bank that they use, right? Um, China and the Bank of International Settlement, and so it's we're seeing this stuff kick, and who they're working with is a really interesting setup. China, Thailand, um, and it's with and Hong Kong, right? And it's they're friends with OPEC. We're seeing this alliance kind of starting to really work out and get going. So if they are able to fully get through this and use this testnet into a real system, and they can bypass the USD, they'll be able to, and other banks, other companies will jump in and start to mess with this. So something to really be paying attention to, right? If you type in into Google, right, you'll sit there and type in, and all this is just the UAE Central Bank Pilot CBD digital currency transaction. It was basically by Reuters. So let me see if I can find this here real quick, because I go through about 50 different articles a day, and I really try to find really the top ones that I think that we need to be paying attention to. And so it's really interesting. I'll see if I can find it. If not, I'll put it in the show notes later, so you guys can check it out. But it's really interesting as we keep moving forward what's actually happening. So I don't know, right? Like I don't know really where we're headed, but I do see that CBDCs are definitely going to be, or CBDCs are going to be one of those major markets that we could see. And here's the other thing I want to bring in: if you get a CBDC within your country, everybody's going to have a crypto wallet, right? And so within that understanding of the crypto wallet, and I'm actually pulling from, I think it was yesterday when what's his name, the Midnight Show on Telegram. You can check him out. He talks about how if you get it, if your country has to sit there and go through and check it out, then that means that you're then going to have to go through and exchange money through a crypto wallet. Hence, then that's going to broaden your idea of like, well, what other cryptocurrencies can I get, right? And then being able to trade back and forth. So that's going to bring a big adoption, and that's coming into China, right? That's coming in. Also, there, and I forget who it was. I was reading through it. Was it China? I believe it was, yeah, here we go. Hong Kong. So this is where, so this is not China. Well, it is China, but it's Hong Kong, China. Here we go. Basically, their SEC, which is called the CFC, basically has gone through, and actually it's not the SEC for them. It's basically their head of the fintech unit at the Securities and Futures Commission, right? Basically, it is their SEC, but they've combined the SEC and the FTC, right? The commodities into one, and they're basically saying, and this is really interesting, is allowing retail investors to directly invest into virtual assets, which would make significant shifts from the SFC stance over the last 4 years. They have been negative on cryptocurrency. So the fact is that they are now open to it because it's at this low level, right? So it's really interesting that they're switching their stance as of right now. So it's just that we've got all these things going on in the world, and it's an interesting view to be able to see what we're seeing. I would almost bring up just the fact is that as we keep moving forward within crypto, be paying attention to major volume stepping in. Like I said, look at ETH. ETH has a ton of volume. We had no volume. We basically were down. I thought we were going to fall through, like legitly fall through, but we're pushing up. again, right? Like I've got to change my bias. So it's really interesting to see as we keep moving what we're going to see next. Are we going to see a sell-off because people are buying, or is this real institutional money coming through? Typically, the institutional money likes to push the market down first and then push it up. This could have been them pushing the market down and then basically going through and pushing it back up. So real interesting to see what we're seeing. Anyways, that's in a nutshell for the actual news section. Let's go ahead and go into real quick just the charting now. Now, as we're moving forward here, these are some of the major stuff that I'm looking at. Okay, from a monthly standpoint, we're coming to the end of the month here, right? And we're coming up into some monthly, what do we want to call them? Monthly supply zones, and this should be right here. All right, so these are monthly supply zones here as we're messing with this. Here we go. Now, these monthly supply zones are also in certain junction points that we're moving here. So as we're coming up into these levels, like I said, I do see some type of sell-off coming in. We should have a sell-off, i.e. keyword should, right? So this actually zone goes all the way up to here, which is the real level, right? But you're going to see it's going to be weird because but this is the level basically between 1676. I know this is a large area, and the 1938 level on Bitcoin here. This would be what I would be looking at to see if the market comes up. We do have within this level, we do have that 8-period moving average that are sitting in the level that I have here, making sure that if we do rally up, and I really doubt it to see if we would come up into this area here, because then at this point, then they are giving up a lot of other land. Let's just look at it like a war, right? They're giving up certain aspects of land in the market, and so I don't think now, unless, and this is the thing, this is where it could be happening, if the United States in the next couple of weeks comes in and says, we're now accepting crypto, we're now accepting all this stuff, let's make this stuff happen, and they start bringing in real regulation, then this rally makes sense. That means the insiders heard the information, they know what's coming, and they're pushing the market in. I think we're a year out from that, a year or two out from that. But again, I don't know, right? But it is unique to be able to sit there and see what's actually happening here. I think this is a bear trap that they're pulling this in. Again, I want to point this out. We're towards the end of the month, and look at the volume. The volume is not there at the monthly chart level. Okay, and so for me, it shows more indication that this is more of a bull trap than or excuse me, not bull trap, a bear trap than an actual bull market or a bottoming. All right. I hope I'm wrong. And we see this thing start to rally again, and then my bag starts to swell, right? And I'm like, woohoo, right? And that'll be dope, right? Because that means like then I can really fully just start living off of 5% in my other accounts, right? And be like, all right, cool. Dishes are done, right? Crypto is now mainstream. But I don't think we're there yet. So, but I could be wrong. I hope that I'm wrong. I do. Just like I hoped when Bitcoin hit certain areas that I was hoped that my market analysis was wrong as well. But we are seeing adoption within areas around the world. So again, I have to play the tension of both sides of saying, okay, we are seeing regulation around the world. We are seeing major institutions stepping in and getting involved and being allowed to get involved. So again, we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Now, this is Ethereum, Bitcoin, similar, everything that I'm going to say this, but I want to point out Ethereum because I have a lot of Ethereum people. Also, when it comes down to this aspect here within Bitcoin, this monthly area here, we do have that 50-period moving average sitting right up in here. So I would be mindful of this. If we do see it, we might see a flash run, right, up to here, and then a sell-off, right? Something that we would see something like this, where it flashes up and then drops back down. So be ready if that does happen towards the end of next week, or end of this week into next week. Here, I thought we were going to hit this 20-period moving average and see a sell-off from here. Obviously, like I said, we are finding some push up here, right? Like in this daily chart. But again, I point out that we do not have a wick here. And that wick indicates to me that they might most likely will drop it around. If I look at the smaller time frames, right, as an actual trader, I don't really see a lot of buyer wicks down in these levels here until we get down into here, this 20,200. But the reality is they're actually more down in these levels here. Actually, where are they at? They were really more down in these levels here of the 268 area. So, but again, if the market's moving up, we go up. Now, as you guys can see here, just want to point out, we do have some bearish, we have a few bearish candles sitting here, right? But we want to see a lower high come in and then a lower low. Okay, that's really what we're looking at. That's really what we want to see here, right? We do have a lower high, but we want to see some lower lows and then a lower high, and then play off of your trending mechanism once we start to move down, if we move down. All right, guys, that's it in a nutshell for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's check out BNB. BNB is looking pretty similar. The difference is if you look at the daily chart here, BNB is much higher in comparison. They both have been above the 189 moving average, pretty strong. We did have a nice sell-off from yesterday from here, but it's pushing right through. As you guys can see, we have the 200 period moving average within our zone in this area here. So being mindful of that, you need to make sure that if we do see this shoot up to here in this level, most likely you're going to see a sell-off. When you go into the smaller time frames, right? Smaller time frames does indicate to me, except for this big buyer wick, we could have a drop, but we don't have a wick down in this level here, nor do we have really a big wick down in here. So we might see a retracement from here, from the 295 area to the 293, all the way down to that 270, 273 area, guys. There's just certain things you need to be paying attention to. That's if we do see a sell-off pierce into that 8-period moving average on the 4-hour chart here. And yes, I finally was able to actually set up and get my where's it at? Bitcoin, not Bitcoin. It was working. I literally got it to work. Now it's not. I do not understand. This is frustrating. I do not know why it works and sometimes it doesn't. Doesn't make sense. All right, guys. So you can see here though that we got our first crack through that 4-hour 8 as we're trending off of it, and then we'll want to see kind of some type of retracement into it. Now let's go into the XRP court here. XRP, like I've said, we are seeing a sell-off here. Wow, look at that. Perfect. Down, we hit our 89 moving average here. We are seeing some type of sell-off. They are, like I said, that they're really strong, right? As of right now, we're seeing them come in. If they do drop it, be ready for a bounce off that 4-hour period moving average, because we have been playing off of that. In additionally to that, we do have that gap area here as we've been playing off of it, as well as resistance. That monthly area here, because we're coming up to that monthly, we did hit it, and now finding it come down from here. Now the biggest thing I want to point out is that if we stick at these levels, if we have a big seller wick here and we see this close down in this level here, because we have this fatty wick here, or not a fatty wick, excuse me, a fatty body here, and a big push up, and the bears weren't able to push this down at least the 50% of this candle here, I am much more bullish on XRP, because it's showing that the bears are weak, and it shows me from a technical standpoint then that most likely we're going to be able to push through these areas here of sellers if at the end of the month we aren't able to close at a lower rate than here, right? If I see us come down to that weekly 20 period moving average sitting right here, that changes things, right? That will, it shows more bearish activity and more strength here. It's going to go below this low here on the week and basically show me that there's weakness here. So it's something you guys need to be paying attention to, okay? But again, we're bouncing off of that weekly 8 period moving average here, and it's holding us pretty strong. So we'll see what happens. But we're kind of ping-ponging off of these levels here. When we look at Solana, Solana is going to look pretty similar here. As you guys can see, they're up here. I was looking up here. Look, it's down here. Solana does not look similar. Solana on the weekly looks much weaker. You can see here that, but they are above the previous week's high. So that does indicate to me that they are showing, they're showing strength. Again, I'm not seeing a lot of buying wick step in here though, so that's the problem, right? As I'm looking at this, we are hitting that weekly moving average sitting right here. That is within our previous demand, which has now become supply area here. So if we do start to see a sell-off, I would be looking more at down into the 28 mark area here, and then even further as we come down and test these lower lows here. As we look at the daily volume in regards to this movement up, it is a lot of volume. Like this is no joke. This is a lot of volume stepping in comparison to the last 2 months here, where we had a few days right here, but the majority of this has been pretty much down, where we've seen an increasing of seller volume as we keep pushing down. So these are just certain things to be paying attention to as we see. But again, we are at we have the 8 period moving average as well as this demand. So we might be ping ponging off of this for maybe for a few days, if not a week, into next week. So something paying attention to. DOT looking similar to what we're seeing everywhere else. That a huge rally from yesterday. We did bounce off of our area here. I thought we were going to find a retracement and then see a sell-off down to here. We did not. We pushed through our area here into this supply zone right here. We probably should be pushing this here. And this is I should have called this out here. It was my bad. This is something that I should have marked out. I was so paying attention to the shorts, I did not mark out this area here. So this is a supply zone here that I'm looking at. We did see a nice little bounce off of it. So it basically just touched it and then moving. Now we do have that 50 period moving average that is finding resistance here, but right below us is we do have that 8. Now this 8 is actually acting as resistance as well. So that's the 8 on the weekly. So if we look at the higher time or the lower time frames, pardon me here real quick. This is starting to trend off that 8 period moving average. So making sure that we understand what's actually going on here. We want to see it get below here. We want to see it close below the 8, come back, retest the 8, and then see a sell-off on that 8 down to our lower levels here. But again, as long as we are moving up, we go long on the market. So that's it. What's up? What's up, Wiz? How you doing? Hope you're doing well, my brother. Let's go to ADA. And we actually have a request for H-bar, so we're actually going to check out H-bar here as well. If you're an H-bar fan, let me know. It'd be cool to be able to post some stuff as well with them. If anybody knows H-bar personally, love to have some of their devs on here to talk about what they're planning on doing. So you guys can see right here that we hit our supply zone right here on the daily, right? Previous supply or previous demand becomes supply, right? So we did see a sell-off off of that 50 period and the previous supply area here. But is it going to continue? We did have a pretty good sell-off on that 50 period moving average from yesterday. So making sure that it most likely will come up and then retrace back down. If not, we want to see a close above the 50 and then a rally up into that weekly, the weekly 20, and then a retracing back into that 50 to see it really show strength on support on that 50. If not, then we want to see it continue down what we're seeing right now, down to our levels here, which is the 35-cent mark area. Let's go to Doge here real quick. Doge is a unique situation. They are pumping. This is no joke. They did hit that 50 period moving average along with our supply zone here that we have. So we are starting to see, it might look like they're going to push off of it and continue down. We'll see what happens. But the biggest thing is this, right? And if I don't want to point this out, on a monthly chart, if we look at the volume isn't necessarily showing a lot of strength on this upward movement, right? But we did have 2 monthly up movements. So that, again, again, it seems like a bear trap here. So for myself, as I'm looking at it, if we do hit these higher time frame SMAs and we start to see a sell-off, we want to then consider how far is it going to go down, right? We'll go down to where we started finding support here, which would put in a lower high, right? Or excuse, not a lower high, but a higher low, and hence allowing people to be able to see the market move in different aspects. So just something to see, to be paying attention to. We're hitting higher time frame SMAs, seeing a sell-off at a higher low, and then another continued higher high if we do decide to put in new higher highs here. So something to be paying attention. So capture that short from here down to this area here, making sure you're taking profit at junctional turning points that you typically have yourself. Matic, as we're looking at Matic here, Matic is pretty much showing major strength, and it's been showing major strength by putting higher highs and higher lows. Once it hit that 30-cent mark down here, at the midsummer mark area, I did think we were going to continue down, but then later found out that Polly is connecting with Warren Buffett, and they are going to be basically the chain in which Warren Buffett is going to launch one of his coins, which is called the Noon Coin, is what it is. I'll talk about it tomorrow for the news. But this came out last week, and it's been really interesting to see what's actually happening here. So, or at least I found out about it last week. So it's really interesting as we keep moving forward. The biggest thing here is this: we're blowing through supply zones, right? So this is showing that this very much might mean that we could see a major push, and one of the darlings of the market here being Polly. So just the fact that Warren Buffett wants to play off of it shows more indication of its strength than what we realized. Yeah, that's in a nutshell for here. But they did just put in a new higher high, and then also put in a higher low here, guys. So we're starting to see, look, like here we go. Low or high, higher high, low or low, higher low, higher low, higher high. So these are indications, and so we want to see it come back down, hit that 8-period moving average, maybe down in this level here, right below it, stopping out the stops that are sitting right here, and to see it come back down into this junctional turn point between the 86 mark and that 84 mark, and then continuing up. So we'll see what happens there. Shiba Inu is showing some strength, but they're not, I wouldn't say as strong as the rest of the market. They are still basically trying to put in a higher low, or excuse me, a higher high off of this level here, right? So they're still fighting in between this range here that they've been playing off of. I still feel like I'm bullish down in these levels. I have been dollar cost averaging, but I'm not fully secure saying that it's not going to see a sell-off. We should be seeing Shiba Inu also create a new higher highs. There was strength here. Now let's check out H bar. Actually, real quick, let's go into the month here real quick. On the month, they did put in a fairly big wick, but it's not, again, right, like I just see volume shutting down here. So it's just kind of slowing. So we'll see what happens. Weekly here real quick. Weekly, we're bouncing off of that 8-period moving average while finding resistance at this level, right? Which is where it's having a hard time to get through it. It should be able to cut through this comparative. If you look at the other really strong coins. So let's check out H bar here real quick. You guys can see here that we are playing off of that 8-period moving average again on H bar. H bar, as I'm looking at them, they're putting in a lot of big seller wicks, whereas a lot of strong coins are putting in a lot of buyer wicks at these levels. So right, we're seeing big buy sell-offs and then buybacks, right? Like, i.e., if you look at the top majority of the candles, right, or the candles on like Bitcoin, right, you see, not necessarily Bitcoin. There we go. We see on that monthly level, right, more buyer wicks, right? We don't see, well, we do see big seller wicks here, but this is what I'm looking for, right? Are we finding support at certain levels? They're not, right? Pointing out, like if you look at XRP, right? XRP, one of the strongest coins out there, right? Seeing bullish candle. Look at that's a fat bullish candle coming through. Granted, we have more buyer wicks here, right? Down at these levels here, right? With not really a lot of seller wicks here at these levels, or equal amount of buyer and seller wicks. So it's one of those things you need to be paying attention to. Solana, right? Solana, I believe, looks more weak at these levels. Actually, it looks a little bit like H bar here. Like I even talked about how we're seeing. Yeah, it actually looks kind of like H bar, where we actually have the seller wick stepping in right here. But at the end of the month, they actually have a really strong buyer wick right here. Whereas we look at H bar, like there's not even buyer wicks here. Like it's pretty much all seller wicks, right? And so that's why I'm definitely much more bearish on these guys than bullish, simply because we have a bigger seller wicks here. On that weekly chart, we're flying off that 8 as well as that 20-period moving average. Let's see if we can. Here are our zones. You can see here, this is a zone that we could play off of here on that weekly. So if we come down into this, is also where we're seeing our 8-period weekly moving, our monthly period moving average sitting at as well. Where's the data? time in here now. It's been a while since we've actually been at this. Since we actually looked at H bar. So you can sit there and see what's actually going on here. We are finding resistance there at that 8. You can see it as it's holding down the market here on the weekly level here. We're definitely pushing it. It was trying to play higher and higher, but we're seeing higher lows, right? Or higher or lower highs, like high, lower high, lower high, lower low compared to this lower low. So it's kind of consolidating at this level here as well. I want to see more buyers step in, right? Like I want to see it come down and put in at least a higher low here for on a weekly level to really show strength and have a close. That would be more bullish for me as I look at things. And then on the daily chart here, it is pretty much the same thing. We do have some major buyer wicks here, but they're at the top. So these are always hard to play off of. They're definitely getting people here. We'll see what happens. But my major analysis is that we are putting in lower lows here or lower highs here as we keep putting, and also lower lows as compared to here, right? Boom, lower low. So if this puts in a higher low, most likely we're going to see it continue down into these lower levels here at that 4-cent mark area. As I, just typically that's where it's going to play. So, all right, guys, that's it in a nutshell. Thanks for coming in today. You guys have any questions, concerns, hit me up privately. You guys can always find me at Moonrock Coin. I am a dev there. Go through, check it out. I many times just go into, become part of our community. Type in your question. Make sure you tag me, and I will answer or look at the coin on the show. All right, guys, that's in a nutshell. Thank you so much for your time. You can also find me at, I'm actually now starting to work a little bit with Midnight Show, as well as Ninja Lounge and Coin Launch Lounge. Those are certain areas, again, where I hang out and chill with people. We do talk the charts, and we do kind of go over stuff, and I air my opinions. So anyways, thank you so much for your guys' time. Many blessings, and I shall talk to you guys soon. Stay safe. If the market is moving up, what do? You go long. If the market is going down and you're trading it, put your stop in, and or make sure you're going short or stay out of the market. The only thing you can control is how much money you lose, right? So making sure that you have an edge to your trading plan and move forward. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. Many blessings, and I will see you guys soon.